Nothing was wrong, but her subconscious mind hadn't caught up. Welcome to Elevate Your Mind. I'm your host, Rebecca Wiener McGregor. I'm a hypnotist, mindset coach, and spiritual guide. This is the place where bold, visionary leaders come to elevate their minds, create their lives, and embrace abundance in every area while living into their mission and purpose. Here we dive into mindset, healthy emotions, energetics, self-leadership, and how to create the conditions for miracles. Let's elevate. Years and years ago, a woman sat across from me in my therapy room. And this was obviously a long time ago because I haven't had an office for like 10 years almost. I thought she was going to tell me something terrible because she had tears in her eyes and one was escaping and rolling down her cheek. But something wonderful had just happened. Something that she had been working toward since before we were even working together. And that was she paid off her house completely. No mortgage, no payment waiting for her at the beginning of the month. And it was a milestone she had been working toward for years. Saving and making a large payment, saving and making a large payment. She told me what she thought that day would feel like, just the relief and the freedom and the peace. And she thought she'd wake up the next morning feeling better than she had ever felt in her whole life. Instead, she woke up anxious, tense, heart pounding. She found herself checking her bank account over and over, wondering if she'd overlooked something. She was thinking about future repairs and future maintenance and worried if maybe she should have been saving more, planning for problems that didn't exist. She looked at me and said, "I don't understand what's wrong with me." I've heard that question so many times, hundreds and hundreds of times at this point. And of course, nothing was wrong with her. Something was happening inside of her, inside in her subconscious mind. That's the difference. Nothing was wrong, but her subconscious mind hadn't caught up. She had spent years living one reality, that there was always going to be a mortgage payment every single month, and it shaped how she thought about money. It shaped how she budgeted. It shaped how she planned. It measured her security. And then one day, bam, reality hit. It was paid for. Her circumstances changed overnight. She thought that she would feel like she won the lottery and that everything was going to be great. Instead, her nervous system was freaking out. I find this so fascinating and I can find it fascinating because I know how to work with it. We assume that our emotions will automatically catch up to our circumstances, right? Like the operating system that runs our phone, we'll just get a new update overnight if there's a bug. But they don't. Most of the time, your life changes light years before your subconscious mind does. Sometimes your life changes long before your subconscious mind does. And once you begin noticing that, you see it everywhere. You can see it in different areas of your life. You can see it with your friends. You can see it with your family. Just paying attention to people, not judging. But you can see it in someone who meets an extraordinary partner and just quietly, internally, maybe chats with you, waiting for them to leave. You can feel that they've welcomed this great person into their life, the person that they longed for, wrote about, dreamt about. They're here, and some part of them, we know what part, is waiting for them to leave. Maybe someone builds a business that they've dreamt about and vision boarded about and planned for, and suddenly worries that they'll lose everything, that they can't sustain what they had. Still another person might receive a promotion and starts wondering if everyone will discover that they don't have it all together like they thought. Maybe someone finally gets a quiet weekend, relaxing weekend, nothing on the agenda, nothing to do, and cannot stop looking for something to do. They have to be doing something. And in All of these scenarios, nothing is wrong. The nervous system is just responding to something unfamiliar. This beautiful relationship, this beautiful business, this paid off house, this open weekend, these things are unfamiliar. And we know our subconscious mind loves familiarity. It feels really good about familiarity. And the life that you have been praying for can feel unfamiliar when it arrives. Stay with that for a moment. Now, I don't mean unfamiliar intellectually, right? I mean emotionally, unfamiliar physically, unfamiliar in your body. Your mind says, oh, this is wonderful. But your shoulders stay tight and your jaw clenches and your breathing becomes shallow and your eyes are scanning. Your nervous system is still asking, what do I need to prepare for? Take that in for a moment. If you've ever felt that, even while your dream is unfolding, that's one of the reasons that I love the human mind so very much. We often imagine that success changes people, or that love changes people, or that money changes people. But our subconscious mind keeps asking the same question long before all of that stuff arrives. And that powerful question that it asks that really keeps the mind spinning. What happens next? What's next? What's next? Is this safe? Let's look at something that all of us have experienced. Have you ever received a compliment and noticed your body before you even notice your response? Someone says to you, you look beautiful today. But before you've even answered, your shoulders stiffen. You maybe look down or look away. You laugh. You wave it off. You cross your arms, or you immediately start explaining why they couldn't possibly have that right. I hardly slept. Oh, this old thing. Oh, I got it at a thrift store. Or, oh my gosh, I really need a haircut. Watch people sometime. Just out of curiosity, out of observing and acknowledging. The words are interesting, right? The body, the way the body responds is fascinating. And the first person that you can get really curious with is yourself. The body often rejects the compliment before the conscious mind even has time to receive it. It's wild, isn't it? How fast, how quickly the subconscious mind is running in the background. Like it just sweeps in and takes over before you can even think about what happened. Because receiving isn't just a thought, right? It's a nervous system experience. And the subconscious mind is asking, ooh, is this safe to let in? The same thing happens with success, with love, with breaks and rest and peace and joy. The body is constantly asking questions that the conscious mind never really hears. Do I know this? Is this familiar to me? Can I trust this? Is this safe? And if the answer is no, the body immediately starts to prepare. And it's not usually because something bad is happening. It's because something new is happening. Just take that in for a moment. New can feel surprisingly vulnerable. We've been taught that people struggle because maybe they don't know how to achieve. The truth is, achievement isn't really the hardest part. It's receiving it, allowing it in. Receiving asks something totally different of us. Achieving says, keep moving, keep striving, keep going, keep planning, keep plotting, keep taking action, keep doing. Receiving says, stay. Receiving says, be with this, feel this. Achievement asks, what next? And receiving says, this moment right here matters. You can tell sometimes when someone's not really good at celebrating, they're just on to the next thing. They're in achievement mode, not in receiving mode. Maybe you felt that yourself, right? Achievement looks toward tomorrow, and receiving allows today to settle in, to happen, for you to be present in the good feeling of today. And these are two very different emotional experiences, aren't they? One keeps us moving, of course, and the other asks us to stop long enough to experience what we've been creating, to really be present with what we've been creating. And that's where so many people start to feel really uncomfortable. The nervous system doesn't really measure how much you've changed. It doesn't, we've talked about this, it doesn't even know what year it is. It only measures how familiar and safe this moment feels. That's why someone can lose a ton of weight and still feel uncomfortable, feeling noticed, having some eyes on them. That's why someone can become really financially secure and start telling themselves stories about how poor they are and still feel really poor. And that's why someone can be very, very loved and still kind of bracing, waiting for the other shoe to drop, waiting for that person to leave, waiting to be abandoned. The subconscious mind asks, have we been here before? And if the answer is no, it's still gathering information, still seeking some way to make sense of it, still looking at the past, still looking at past experiences, trying to find a reference for this experience. And of course, it's not in the past. We haven't done this before. So it will look for something that's similar from the past. And if there's an emotional response there, it will attach to that emotional response and bring it into the present moment. And it happens before you can even think about it. Wild, isn't it? Okay, I have another client I want to share with you about. She came to me because she had finally built this beautiful business that she was in love with, and it was thriving. Her clients were finding her, money was coming in consistently, and from the outside, things looked really, really good. And from the inside, she couldn't stop working. She was answering emails late into the evening. She woke up thinking about work. And if she wasn't creating something, wasn't doing something for this business that she built that she loved so much, she felt guilty. One afternoon, I asked her, what would happen if you finished work today and you simply enjoyed the rest of your evening? She actually laughed because it didn't even occur to her as a possibility. And she got really quiet and she said, I don't know what I'd do. That answer kind of stuck with me. I don't know what I do. Notice she didn't say, I don't want to. She said, I don't know what I do. And those are two totally different conversations, right? She had become extraordinarily skilled at striving, at pushing, at working toward a goal. And she still had almost no experience receiving. It's almost just a tiny little shift in emotional positioning, right? Where you are go, 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 and you kind of have your back turned on the receiving. That's what your subconscious mind will do. It will make that tiny little shift. So you stay in that lane of producing and creating, and your worthiness and your happiness then can become tied to that production. And when you ask yourself to shift, she didn't know what that even would feel like. Receiving an evening to herself, receiving some free time, receiving and letting herself really experience all of the success that she had created. No, her subconscious mind knew how to build and build and build and build. It didn't know how to live the life that she had built. Isn't that fascinating? That's what we were working on together. I wonder how many of us have become experts at creating a life without really learning how to receive it. Let's zoom out a little bit. Okay, think about retirement. For decades, people dream about retirement. we've heard these stories, right? They count down the years. They picture the freedom. They've got all the brochures for all the places they're going to travel. They've bookmarked all the pages on the internet. They have this great plan. And they're thinking about the mornings without an alarm clock or their phone going off. And then retirement happens. And some people do really, really well. And others become restless and anxious and even depressed. And why do you think that is? Retirement isn't a bad thing, right? Having all those things where there's no alarms on the phone, there's no big schedule. Didn't turn out that retirement is bad, but the identity has shifted. 40 years, the nervous system knew exactly what tomorrow looked like, right? There was rhythm, there was a structure, there was predictability and reliability and familiarity. And Lord, we know the subconscious mind loves that. And then one day, all of that disappears. The calendar is wide open. Time maybe slows down a little bit. The nervous system says, what the heck am I supposed to do with all this space? What am I supposed to do with all this time? Here again, nothing is wrong, but it's unfamiliar. And so the subconscious mind says it's wrong. It feels wrong. It feels dangerous. Let's look at relationships. This one is very interesting to me. Imagine a woman who spent years in relationships where she never quite knew where she stood. I mean, this could be my life story. Sometimes she felt loved. Sometimes she felt like the communication was great. Sometimes she didn't feel loved. Sometimes the communication just disappeared. Without realizing it, her nervous system became really good at uncertainty. When she met someone different, he says he's going to call. He keeps his word. He doesn't play games. He's emotionally available. He's kind and consistent and loving. Everything she always wanted. And yet part of her feels unsettled. She wonders, is there enough chemistry? I don't know. Something feels different. Of course it feels different because consistency feels different. Predictability feels different. Safety is different. Her nervous system spent years equating uncertainty with love. Think about that. Now love feels peaceful. It feels easier. They feel unfamiliar because that wasn't what she was used to. That's why I smile when someone says, I don't know, it almost feels too easy. Like, should it be this easy to be in love? Does it make sense? There isn't that emotional roller coaster that we've fallen in love with. Maybe that's exactly how healthy love feels. Not boring, not flat, but safe, trusting. And if safety has been missing for a long time, the body has learned it. Notice I didn't say the mind. The body has learned it. The subconscious mind has learned it, not the conscious mind. Because that's where this conversation really lives. It's in the subconscious mind that influences the nervous system that is felt in the body. The body keeps the score long after the mind has changed its opinion. The subconscious mind has those files locked down. You can logically know when someone loves you. You can feel it in your heart. You can think it. You can see the patterns. You can really assess, oh yeah, this person loves me. I can feel in my heart this person loves me. And then still feel your stomach tighten when they don't respond to a message right away. Your logical mind knows your bills are paid. And then you can still feel a wave of fear when you look at your bank account. You can know your presentation went beautifully and still replay the one sentence that you wish you'd said differently. Ugh. Logic is not the issue here. Your nervous system is speaking a different language. It's speaking its own language, and it's a language of prediction and protection and preparation. The fascinating part is your body isn't asking, ooh, is this good? It's asking, do I recognize this? Completely different questions, right? So let's make it even more ordinary. Imagine someone buys a beautiful set of dishes and she just loves them. She thought they were beautiful. She had to have them. She wasn't even planning for a party or guests or any of that. And she gets them home. She unwraps every plate. She cleans them and finds the most beautiful spot in the cupboard for them. Some are on display, and then she never uses them. They're for special occasions. And years go by, and the dishes remain untouched. Have you ever noticed how often we do that? Our favorite candles, our favorite perfume, that beautiful notebook. Oh, that tea that was so expensive and special. The fancy towels that we keep just for the guests. That good china. That dress that hangs in the closet. That outfit that still sits in the closet waiting for the right time to wear it. We're waiting. Waiting for a day important enough to deserve them. What if that's another way that we struggle to receive? What if we've become so accustomed to preparing for life that we forgot how to actually participate in it? I think about that every morning when I light my candle. And every time I put on my perfume after I get out of the shower, even if I'm going straight to bed, or when we use the good dishes at home, or buy fresh flowers just because they're beautiful. It's not because life suddenly became perfect or that it has to be perfect, but life is happening right now. Ordinary days deserve to be felt. Ordinary days deserve to be celebrated. Ordinary days deserve to be delighted. I wonder if that's one of the biggest transformations we'll ever experience in our lives. And that's not just learning how to create the life we want, but learning how to receive it. Learning how to enjoy it. Learning how to be there in the present moment. That's such a huge difference, isn't it? Creating asks us to reach, and receiving asks us to remain present, to feel it. Creating asks us to become the next version of ourselves or stay worthy by producing. And receiving asks us to allow ourselves to be present, allow ourselves to be in the moment, allow ourselves to delight in the moment, allow ourselves to celebrate the moment. Most of us have spent a large part of our lives practicing achievement, practicing that striving, that pushing, production. We've been practicing being successful, air quotes if you're not watching the video. Very few of us have practiced receiving. That's why I think this conversation is so important, because I don't believe the next chapter of your life is going to ask you to accomplish more. It's going to ask you to receive more peace, more love, more support, more abundance, more rest, more beauty, more joy. And let's just go back to beauty for a moment. I'm always fascinated by beautiful spaces. Not necessarily the luxe ones or the super expensive ones, but beautiful spaces where you can exhale, a beautiful home where you can relax, a vase of fresh flowers, a favorite mug, music playing while dinner is being prepared, a lamp instead of an overhead light, a quilt or a soft blanket folded at the end of a bed, fresh bread cooling on the counter, as if it is ever undisturbed in this house, just cooling on a counter. A porch where someone has intentionally left 2 chairs facing the sunset rather than facing the street. All those things matter because they communicate something to the nervous system. They say, you don't have to rush. You can stay. You can notice. You can receive this moment. You can feel present. Just think about that. When was the last time you stopped to watch the sunlight coming through the trees? Or notice the way your dog sighed before falling asleep? Or laughed so hard at dinner you completely forgot about your phone and your emails and all the stuff going on inside it? These moments seem small, but they're not. They're rehearsals. Every time you let yourself experience one of these moments, your nervous system learns something. Your nervous system receives something. It receives the message that life isn't just something to prepare for. It's something to participate in. It's something worth being present in. Sometimes the people who struggle most with receiving are the people who have the biggest hearts. They're generous and they're thoughtful. They're the first one to help someone when they need it. First one to bring dinner when the neighbor is sick, or the first to remember birthdays or send a card or send a note or celebrate with you. They're extraordinary at giving. And then ask them to receive. When it's their turn to receive some help, maybe receive a little support and notice what happens. Oh, you don't have to do that. I'm fine. I couldn't. I'll get you back. Really, I promise. I'm fine. Oh, I love that word, fine. Anyway, they're uncomfortable. And it's not that they're selfish, but that giving feels really familiar and receiving does not. That's why I ask clients, I asked one yesterday, when was the last time someone took care of you? It got really quiet. Sometimes when I ask that, they cry. And it's not that these people have a lack of people who love them. It's that they don't know how to let the people love them. They're so good at taking care of others. They don't really know how to let people take care of them. That's different. You can be completely loved and still struggle to receive love. You can have money and still struggle to receive security. You can be extraordinarily successful and still struggle to feel like you're enough. That's why external change doesn't always create the internal change. It learns through experience. It's not just one experience. It's repeated experience over and over. Safe experience. Lived experience. That's why healing isn't a moment. Healing is a relationship. It's really building a relationship with yourself, with your body, with your mind, with your actual life right now. Every time you stay with peace instead of immediately looking for the next problem, you're teaching your nervous system something new. Every time you receive a compliment without explaining it away, you're receiving something new. You're teaching your nervous system something new. Every time you sit on the porch for 10 minutes without feeling guilty, you're teaching your nervous system something new. Every time you use the good dishes on an ordinary Tuesday, you teach your nervous system something new. Every time you celebrate a win before buckling down and figuring out what's next, you teach your nervous system something new. Little by little, unfamiliar becomes familiar. Little by little, even without realizing it, peace can become more normal than pressure. Rest can feel more normal than proving yourself. And love can feel safer than loneliness. That's what we're really talking about here. We're not talking about pretending or positive thinking or convincing yourself everything is wonderful. We're talking about giving your nervous system enough lived evidence that it finally thinks, oh, I know this place. I've been here before. I'm safe here. That's when life really changes. That's when life really changes. So here's a question I'd love for you to think about this week, okay? And it's not what do I want more of? Because you probably answer that question a billion times, right? Instead, I want you to ask yourself, what is a beautiful part of my life that I haven't fully received yet? What's a beautiful part of my life that I haven't fully let myself relax into yet? What's a beautiful part of my life that I haven't really let myself feel at home in yet? Maybe it's your marriage. Maybe it's your health. Maybe it's your children. Maybe it's your home. Maybe it's that business that you worked so darn hard to build. Maybe it's the peace that you've spent years creating for yourself. Maybe it's today. Not because today is some extraordinary day, but because even today is part of your life. And even ordinary days deserve to be received, deserve to be enjoyed, deserve to be celebrated. Because you're living and your life is sacred. You're a freaking miracle. Of course your life is sacred. So, before we finish, I want to bring back something that we used to do years ago that everybody loved, and it's called asking for a friend. Every week, I'd love to hear your questions, the fascinating ones, the vulnerable ones, the questions that you maybe always wanted to know the answer to, but were too embarrassed to ask. Questions about the subconscious mind, relationships, money, leadership, confidence, the way our body stores our pain and trauma, manifestation, grief, habits, purpose, or simply being human. If you've been wondering about it, I promise you, you're not the only one. I would love for you to send me your questions through my website, RebeccaWiener.com, through my email or social media. Your question might become a future episode of Elevate Your Mind. And it might just change somebody else's life because you asked. All right. Thank you for spending this time with me. Thank you for being curious to look beneath the surface. You've moved a lot of energy today. Please drink your water, take really good care of yourself, and keep elevating your mind. I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for listening. If you loved today's episode, I'd be grateful if you'd take a moment to rate and review the podcast. And keep the ripple going, please. Share it with a friend or colleague who's also on their growth journey. If you'd like to connect with me for a consult, or if you have a question you'd like answered on the podcast, you can do so at RebeccaWiener.com. Now go make some magic.